Good morning. Welcome to my presentation. Thank you for your comment. My name is Ángel Oreiro, and this is my joint paper with Miguel Anxo Bastos, who is my PhD supervisor. We are both from the University of Santiago de Compostela in Spain. I am going to talk about the minimum wage. For this, I need to read because my English is not good, but I promise next time I will talk better. Well, first of all, let me show you an outline of my talk. First, I will start with a motivation of my paper. Second, I will show you a background in the period 2016 to 2024 in Argentina about three things: minimum salary, public employment, employment in non-profit institutions, third sector. And finally, I will show you data that I use, methodology, empirical results, and my conclusions. There is some missing evidence on how minimum wages increase affect employment. In general, it depends on three things: frequency of adjustment, how often minimum wage changes. Depends also if the labor market is perfectly competitive or not. And there are differences by specific demographic groups, like immigrants, rural areas, and so on. The relevance of minimum wages has extended labor economics and has manifested in importance in politics. In Peru, minimum wages drive presidential and executive approval, warning that incumbent politicians have perverse incentives to increase the minimum wage indiscriminately to increase the chance of re-election. This article contributes in a novel way to strands under literature. We study Jimenez in three directions. We analyze a country where minimum wage updates are more frequent than in Peru. Jimenez excluded demographic groups such as people living in rural areas. We analyze specific demographic groups such as immigrants and people living in a small agglomeration. Jimenez demonstrates that minimum wages give approval of presidential and executive power, and our main novel hypothesis states that increases in nominal minimum wages are used simultaneously by incumbent politicians, along with increases in public employment and employment in non-profit institutions. Argentina is in the laboratory to test our hypothesis, given that it's in the country with the largest increase in public employment in Latin America countries in the last decade. When analyzing Argentina, our second novel contribution relates to the political literature on the influence of populism and clientelism on the labor market. The justification of our main novel hypothesis comes from the literature on populism and clientelism in Argentina. Public employees effectively provide political service to clients who hire them. This political service, attending rallies, collaborating in campaigns, supervising elections, are essential to obtain and maintain electoral support. Now, I will talk about the evolution of minimum salary in Argentina from 2026 from 2024. There are many frequencies, updates, and from 2022 onwards, the increase in minimum wage are very high. This table shows that in 2026, there were 3 updates of the minimum salary, but in 2023, there were 12 updates. In 2022, Trinidad and Tobago and Argentina had the highest level of public employment and a proportion of total employment among Latin American countries. During the period, Trinidad and Tobago decreased in percentage. From April 2016 to June 2024, 6,000 jobs were created in the private sector and 350,000 jobs in the public sector. Public employment also includes those participating in multiple employment plans in Argentina, where wages are related to the minimum wage. Examples of employment are Potencia Trabajo, born in 2020, reached 1 million workers at the end of 2021, and a student support program like a Progresar, aimed at young people in compulsory higher education and vocational training. Its beneficiaries were 1 million in 2021 and almost 1.7 million at the end of 2022. In addition to public and private institutions, the Permanent Household Survey in Argentina collects data on employment associated with non-profit institutions. Examples of non-profit institutions, cooperatives, social works, professional councils, sport clubs, unions, and so on. The third sector represents 3.5% of the total economic units and 11.1% of total employment, a percentage similar to the self-employment workers. These civil entities are heavily regulated by the government. Therefore, the government can interfere in many aspects of non-profit institutions, including providing clear tax advantages, thereby increasing the funding and allowing their employment to increase. Now we will talk about the data. We use the Permanent Household Survey of Argentina, which allows for different public employment, private employment, and the third sector. We obtain quarterly data from 2016 second quarter to 2024 second quarter, which approximately 5,000 respondents. INDEC reports that data prior to the second quarter on 2016 are not verified. We selected 13,672 survey responses during the period 2016 to 2024, after filtering by people between 16 and 65 years old, minimum age to work and retiring in Argentina respectively, people who in 2 consecutive quarters did not increase their age by more than 2 years as a quality control of the survey. Active people, people without special education, for people with disabilities, people who answer numerical their salary, and people who answer where they lived 5 years ago. You can see in this table that salaries in the third sector are very low compared to the public and private sector. These salaries in the third sector and in the public sector and the private sector. And immigrants have lower salaries than all the sample. Now we'll talk about the methodology. We use an early study approach with a model. Employee is a dependent variable and is a dummy variable that's equal to 1 when individuals are employed and 0 when they're unemployed. Education is a variable that ranges from 1 to 8, varying from the lowest to the highest education level. Our minimum salary is the minimum wage growth rate. Pandemic is a dummy variable that's equal to 1 from the second quarter of 2020 onwards, when the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 pandemic, and 0 otherwise. The evaluation is a dummy variable that's equal to 1 from the first quarter of 2024 onwards and 0 otherwise. AI are the individual fixed effects. We use 3 estimation methods: fixed effect, random effects, and the first difference estimator, which allow unbalanced balances to be analyzed. We apply 3 types of tests to choose the estimation method. To test from Woolrich 1, null hypothesis. Woolrich 1, where the null hypothesis is first difference and the alternative is fixed effect, and Woolrich 2, where the null hypothesis is first effect and the alternative is first difference. In cases where we cannot reject with either Woolrich 2 and Woolrich 1 and Woolrich 2, we show that our results and robots to using both first difference and first effect. And finally, the Hausman test, where the null hypothesis is random effects and the alternative hypothesis is Fish effects. The four main hypotheses that will be tested are H1. We argue that in general a positive annual impact in education and employment, a negative impact of education and employment in the third sector. H2. We argue that there is a large impact, a positive impact on minimum wage increase on public employment and non-profit employment. This is the main novel hypothesis of our article. There is a not very significant positive impact on the private sector. And there is a negative impact on minimum wage increase on specific demographic groups, such as immigrants and people living in agglomerations. H3, we argue that alpha 3 is negative, and finally, H4, alpha 4 is also negative. These are my empirical results. First, an increase in 1 unit on education increased the probability of employment by 0.02 in the public sector and decreases the probability of employment in the third sector. Second, a 10% increase in the growth rate on the nominal minimum wage is associated with an expected increase in the probability of being employed in the public sector on 0.06, an expected increase on 0.14 and a non-profit employment, and when considering specific demographic groups, an expected reduction in the probability of being employed for immigrants and of 0.05, an expected reduction on 0.03 for people living in agglomeration of less than 50,000, and finally, an expected increase in the probability of being employed in the private sector of 0.007. Private laboring is not perfectly competitive. COVID-19 had a negative impact on the probability of being employed in the third sector, decreases approximately 0.28. A very slight negative effect was also detected in the private sector with an increase of 0.0. And finally, the devaluation of Argentina peso of more 15% cost a slight decrease in probability of being employed 0.16. And finally, my conclusion are policymakers must be aware of the specific effects that increases in minimum wage can have, especially of marginalized groups such as migrants and those living in small rural areas. The third sector in Argentina was the one where COVID had the greatest impact of job distribution. Our finding also have very relevant political implications, as very one that minimum wages can be used by incumbent politicians as a simultaneous joint tool with the very pronounced increase in public employment and employment in non-profit institutions to seek presidential and political approval. Thank you very much, and apologies for my English. If you have any question, please send me an email, because it's possible I don't understand the question. Thank you.
Because the minimum wage really is a factor, does not the GBT of have an effect on that?
Minimum wage is a frontier to specific groups like immigrants, jams, not go to the labor market.
Say is recognised or not? Entitlement. Is there entitlement recognised?
I think the minimum wage is not good for labor market because excluded many types of people, like immigrants, young people.
I understand. Yeah, no, that's I can understand where it sits. Thank you.
Thank you.